Happy Thursday.
Yeah,
Cheers.
that was a fast Thursday.
It's been a week, all right. Welcome to our kitchen.
We've been working very hard for all you lovers out there, so you can have a lovely lover day.
Yeah, Chef D is making 100 portions of beef Wellington.
Never
So-
again, though.
He's pretty sure he's gonna have PTSD from the beef Wellington when this is all over. He's gonna have nightmares on Family Day.
No, I'm gonna get the. I like these challenges because. Well, how many times did you make beef Wellington?
Oh, not very many.
I have chance to execute 100 portions and practice on her budget. See, that is an investment. So you have to understand that. To me, it's practice time. Obviously, we're gonna deliver it. We're gonna do a kick-ass job, which we usually do. I think. Can I? I can't say that.
You
about
can say that about
anyway,
your own food.
well, people seem to be happy and flying out of the door, but it is good practice. I never have to think about how to execute beef Wellington. They're gonna say 20. I know exactly how much beef I'm gonna need. I know exactly how much puff I need to make. I need exactly how much mushrooms, prosciutto, and it's self-training all for free. So a little lesson: make all of your mistakes on somebody else's budget, and then roll into a business or whatnot.
Well, today we had
Before I get hit, just
today we had beef Wellington for lunch because Chef wanted to test the baking time and make sure we were giving out accurate instructions for everybody, and it was delicious. So if you are one of the lucky 100 people who are enjoying our Valentine's dinner this weekend, you're in luck. It's going to be fantastic.
That being said, beef Wellington is a very hard thing to cook. The hardest part is done for you, but you still will need to be able to
cook it properly.
cook it properly. And I know there is instructions for time. There is instructions for oven temperature, but do not forget everybody's oven is different. I also would encourage you to do that. All of your baking with other stuff in, like putting an only piece of beef Wellington in a 400-degree oven is one thing. Now, if you have 3 tracks and if you have 2 trays of vegetables under there, which we won't need, but like there's something else in the oven creating steam that is going to change your cooking time and your temperature. So, and also when you're carving, please use a serrated knife and the lightest hand, a lot of sawing action. So if you just take the Wellington just like this, and if you just like wonk, that's gonna fall apart, and then we're gonna get angry mails that's saying that, hey, you suck. No, you would never say that, but hey, this didn't work out, and obviously it's not your fault, and then we'll have to answer all those emails. So anyway, whoever is going to take those whoever's cooking the Wellington, maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos on it. Just do it.
Send me a message. I'll give you his cell phone number. He'll talk you through it.
No.
He'll get 100 phone calls on Valentine's
Day. It is 604-604-6484, and call as much as you want.
Is that the pizza number?
I don't know, man. As long as I don't get the call, I don't care. Who cares? Deals with it.
Anyhow, so we have been smoking busy around here thanks to all of you. Our frozen food is just flying out of there, and we lost power in our Abbotsford kitchen this morning. So Michelle and Sarah nearly died out there of frostbite today. By the time they got up and running, it was so cold in the kitchen. But they persevered and kept making all those bacon cheeseburger pies. And anyhow, our freezers are full today.
Today and tomorrow will be empty, and it's just going to be Monday, and it's going to be all over.
Monday's a holiday, Chef, so you get a break. You'll get 2 days off,
open,
hopefully. No? The store's open, but you get a day off, hopefully, maybe.
No stat pay?
No. For you? No.
Oh, yeah.
No stat pay.
No, I don't get paid. This is all for labor manual, and
he's practicing with my budget. So
exactly. So that when I open up a beef Wellington shop and make no money.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to the actual subject of tonight's.
So tonight's course, this course is being prepared by request. So one of our lovely viewers last week asked us to cook some food from your home country. So
and I scrambled because I had no idea what to cook, because there is we eat a lot of stewy, moppy, bread dippy things, which takes time. Even our vegetables are long cooked, it takes time. But I try to pick 2 quick dishes that has a lot of nutrition value. and so much fun to eat, and it's good on your budget. And it's just been put together. You know what shakshuka is?
Yeah, I love it.
Why don't you just enlighten us with your knowledge?
Of shakshuka.
Yeah.
So when I make it at home, it's like a stewed tomato dish that's seasoned with sort of sweet spices. There's some onion. I don't add garlic to mine just because I find it can overpower it. But it's really good quality tinned tomatoes that I use.
Oh, she has a serious face too.
Sauteed onion.
Let me stop you. Not even close.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Thank you.
Let me put an end to this
You
discussion.
tell me again today what I've done wrong, because this is my favorite part of the day.
I made her beef Wellington for lunch. She said there was too much ham in it.
50 times a day he
Who does
asks me a question and then tells me why my answer is wrong. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, Susan Gourmet has 2 Michelin.
So this is 51 times today. So tell me why I'm wrong.
So what's shakshuka? You're not wrong.
Oh.
That is the most known form of shakshuka, what people usually consider eggs and tomato sauce. Shakshuk is an actual word that we use in Turkish to describe a hand clap. This is shak and this is shuk. Shakshuka could be anything that could be prepared in a clap of a hand. It could be fried eggplant with yogurt sauce. It could be eggs and tomato sauce. It could be anything. You can just like get it over with and put it on the table. So, I picked a couple of shakshukas for you tonight. And then,
but are one of them going to contain eggs?
Yeah, because I love eggs. I made my career on eggs, and this was one of my, and still is, one of my favorite things to eat ever. Eggs and tomato sauce is nothing new, but in Middle East we have a little spin on it. Now there's a school on the second dish called Menemen. You can call it men or man, so it's that good. That it's either with onions or without onions. I am on without onions side. Because I have to take a side, and I think onions in the dish just makes the dish heavy. And my grandmother sucked at cooking onions, and she split all the eggs, so it was just so gross. So I'm just like sticking with only garlic tonight. It could be with meat or without meat. You could use some feta, but I'm gonna just show you with some dried chorizo, which in Turkey we have a form of sausage that we call sucuk. It's very similar to that. That's cumini, smoked paprika, garlic, red wine vinegar, that kind of deal.
Is this a serrano? It's a little bit spicy.
This is Anaheim pepper.
Oh, Anaheim.
We need, if you can't find Anaheim, green pepper is fine. But if you can find Anaheim, it's Safeway carries. Go get one. It is, or we call them charleston in Turkish, which is a big fat pepper that is, actually I'm not going to show it to you. Go figure it out. That is not spicy, but you use it for its flavor. Bell peppers are fine, but green pepper has that unique peppery taste that could be gross or awesome, depending on the context. Like in a jambalaya, it's awesome. In this dish, it's awesome. In some other dishes, it could be like really bitter and weird. But for this dish, that's why I'm using Anaheim. If you don't have Anaheim, please use bell pepper. And there's a chopped serrano in there as well that's been deseeded, because we're going to add harissa paste, fenugreek leaves. Anyway, I'm going to walk you through the dish. That's for later.
So the shakshuka that I was just describing is more of a Moroccan kind of dish, right?
The word is Turkish. How could it be Moroccan?
But the dish that we know here in North America as shakshuka, I think everybody is used to a similar dish. That's the sauteed tomatoes with the soft poached eggs on top, or cooked into the tomatoes, and then garnished with feta cheese. And I think that's sort of a Moroccan type dish is where I know that it comes from. But do you do that same version in Turkey with the stewed tomatoes? No. This
is the dish that we do. This is usually considered a trucker's stop dish. That it is cheap to together. It's nutritious because it has eggs in it. Cooked with always fresh tomatoes. But this is what we do, and we call it menemen. Shakshuka and menemen is a form of shakshuka in our culture, but I'm not going to be a stickler about it. I mean, just call it whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. We just look at you and like, yeah, all right, you know. It's like me cooking barbecue in front of her, you know, just in a slow cooker. You're like, all right, that's pretty cute, but you actually don't know what the hell is going on, and you have no idea what you're talking about. Same idea.
Cute.
Yeah.
So I was expecting when we decided we were going to do a Turkish menu, I was sort of expecting some beans or lentils because you cook a lot of beans and lentils, but you didn't bust any out tonight. So
Well, maybe this will be the first series. I love legumes because
I know.
we're a poor culture, and you buy a pound of ground meat and you feed a family of 10 with that night. So you need that broth. You need a lot of bread. You need a lot of salad to enrich the meal, which ends up eating super light. You eat 2 ounces of ground beef with all the beans and the tomato, juicy cucumber salad and the fresh bread and the this, and it's a fun way of eating, which still most of the world still eats like that. You would like when you look at world's consumption of protein, it usually stops at 4 ounce tops. That's a luxury meal for every single person in the household.
But in North America, it's like 8 ounce, 6, 8 ounces of protein is
I
the norm.
love that also. I love to be able, like, you buy a 32-ounce steak in Turkey, Istanbul, you'll need a mortgage. Even if it comes, it's not good. I love the fact that we can just grab a big piece of meat. That's fun too. That's what we do. This is somewhat the reality. And let me talk to you about the other dish. Is a pan roasted halloumi. This started as a joke. We have a form of this in Turkish, but it's not exactly like this. That I was just working at one of the places that I used to work, and I said, why don't I cook this whole thing? And then let's see what happens. And then it ended up being yielding to this dish. It's with reduced honey. It's sticky. It's gooey. It's spicy. Halloumi cheese. If you've never tried it, right?
It's super bland on its own. It's kind of, I
It
don't know.
can be.
It's kind of
it-
mozzarella-y, but really firm.
It could be salty. It's from Cyprus. And I tasted the first time in Cyprus in the Turkish part. I was in Cyprus in 13 years of age. Me and my grandmother went. I will tell this very fast. It's a good story. Me and my grandmother just like went. The thing about Turkey was the casinos wasn't allowed back then. I don't know why. But so when we wanted to gamble, we went to Cyprus because it was convenient. It's still Turkish languages there. And
At 13, you wanted to gamble?
No.
Oh.
That's why you go to gamble. But we ended up in it. So this is me sitting here. This is my mom. That's my grandma. These are each slot machines. I have a gin and tonic. That's a double. I have a cigarette in my hand. And I'm being served all these things. And same as with me and my grandma. We were having grand old time when I was 13. So I had a real childhood. Okay? And it didn't turn out really that bad. So that was my story of Cyprus, the most thing I remember about it. But you know, third world is a different place, so you just grow up with a lot of liberties. But long story short, halloumi cheese is originally from Cyprus, but it's widely available all over the world due to its strength against heat. You can grill this cheese, you can pan roast this cheese, you can serve this cheese in hot boiling water, which is another traditional bit, a little bit of chili oil on top. That's an advanced halloumi application.
It's good on the barbecue. I've barbecued it quite a bit.
Yeah. It is excellent, and it's an also excellent substitute for a vegetarian friend. If you're doing fish and chips that day, just cut him a piece.
Instead of tofu or something, if you're cooking for a vegetarian, it's a good alternative.
Yeah.
The,
Sorry, I speak a lot, but this is what I know.
But the halloumi cheese you can get at most grocery stores. I think Safeway carries it. We don't carry it here because it is really common. You can
Safeway, depends on the Safeway, you can find it.
It's usually in the deli section where the cheeses are, not in the section where like the Kraft singles and stuff are, but usually in the deli section where the other cheese. So the recipes, I hope Kay is going to link to the recipes here, so you can cook along with us or save the recipes so you can make these dishes at home later. Chef, are these dishes like main courses, breakfasts, desserts, like what?
This is when you go to a distinguished breakfast place. This is what you've been served.
The Menemen?
The Menemen. And then the other dish is just like a fun dish, like a hot course dish. I am a big fan of hot cheese courses.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. Everybody just stops it at room temperature. But just chopped up sourdough, tossed in olive oil with a big slab of Gruyere right on top, just baked in a hot oven. Not completely melted, but it's soft that you can just like ooze it up. It is a great way
Ooze
of
it up.
great way of cheese course.
So
this would be a great hot and cheese course for entertainment, which you can do in coming September.
Yeah,
hopefully.
when you can entertain again.
Yeah.
So if you have questions while Chef's walking you through the recipes, you can just go ahead and enter them into the comment bar. I'll relay them on to Chef for you. He'll answer the questions. Hopefully, maybe he'll tell you the truth. I'm sure he's got
I always
plenty.
tell the truth.
I'm sure he's got plenty more stories about smoking cigarettes and drinking gin as a 13-year-old. So
Doubles.
we have that to look forward to. So anyhow, if you've got questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, Chef does enjoy getting a hard time. I poured you a glass of red wine because I think generally you prefer a red. So
it's a great drink. My body feels good about it.
About red?
Yeah, unless I drank 3 bottles, but I feel good on it. Like I don't know. The older I get, the more food groups that I'm attracted to, like blueberries, avocado, red wine. Brisket. My body craves it, so I just roll with it.
Yeah, so this is from our friends on Vancouver Island. This is Quaale. It's from Blue Grouse Winery on Vancouver Island. And I am drinking some Liber Chardonnay. I felt like something a little bit lighter today. I've had a bit of a headache all day, so a little Chardonnay.
Don't worry, I'm going to ruin both of the wines with Harissa and fenugreek, so it doesn't matter. So just keep on sipping.
So I'm going to enjoy my Chardonnay. David's drinking a glass of whiskey, so everybody's got their own program. So.
This meal is best with a big glass of black tea.
All right.
Let me see.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. Let's finish this wine. Okay. Now, first we have a sauce. I'm going to start with the base of it. I'm going to get my pan going. I have a couple loaves of little bread here. I'm going to pop them in the oven. Turkish food is always has been served with bread. Bread is holy to us, just so you know. And then we consume a lot of bread. There will be a person that's going to bring you bread 2 times a day. The caretaker of your building usually does that for you. So bread is in the oven. My pan is getting hot. And let's talk about ingredients. Now we have to set the base right. If you don't set the base right of this dish, it still will be wonderful, but if you want to do a kick-ass job, you have to take your time with your aromatics. Not burn them, not softly steam them, but just have that perfect balance of a very pronounced buttery, chili, peppery taste is the heart and soul of this dish. A little bit of butter for 2 people. Now, one of the things I always mention, and I can't stress it, the importance of it enough, is that when people saute things, due to health conscious decisions, they do not use enough fat in their pan. First things first, fat is good for you. Fat doesn't make you fat. Obvious, if you eat a lot, sugar is the main culprit. But have enough fat, otherwise you are going to scorch your vegetables with the hot metal surface, which is way greater temperatures than fat. There is a time and place for doing that knowledgeably and intelligently, but that's advanced cooking and we're not doing that. This is good old country fare. Now my butter is bubbling. Foamy butter is a delicious thing and you always would like that. My peppers go in.
How many peppers is that, Chef? 1 or 2? Or?
Give me a sec. 1, 2, 3.
Oh man, he's
4.
on fire tonight.
Stop interrupting me, please. That was for Angie. That's for having a funny comment on my beef Wellington.
Oh.
Anyway, that is 1 Anaheim pepper. And actually, let me just show you the pepper. It's odd that Safeway carries this, but it is a pepper like this. Looks like a pepper. It's sweet, doesn't smell too much, but it has a wonderful aroma when the heat is applied. And when I was a child, I would cut the top off, fill this one up with salted lemon juice and take shots of it. If you need a useless story.
And you would use it as a shot glass? Is that right?
For salted lemon juice, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was thinking you were back drinking with your grandma, doing shots out of peppers.
I was allowed to drink when I was a child. I was. It was a thing in my family. We were fat, loud, happy. We just drink bunch of booze and make fun of each other, and it was just some of the best times. It
It's
was
kind of like today.
yeah. They used to get me drunk and make fun of me.
Exactly like today.
Except I'm getting paid. I'm kidding. I'm not. This is for charity. This is for me doing my mistakes before I start my YouTube with Angie's budget.
Oh my gosh, you are the worst today. You are on fire.
I'm frank. I'm honest. I'm not lying. We're putting the cash into that register in exchange. Anyway, so my peppers are frying. I am going to add a clove of garlic. Again, there is another school in this department saying that you have to get onions in here. I am not with that school because if you don't do a good job cooking your onions, it's not going to taste well and it's going to alter the taste of the dish, which I don't want to. I want to give it to you in its own very, very simplicity. Okay, my peppers are fried. Now, for this dish, also we are going to use a cooking tomato. Cooking tomatoes are very frowned upon. You know, just there's the seasonality and this and that. I do consume tomatoes in the wintertime. I use Roma tomatoes for cooking. They have a lot of flesh. If you braise them slow enough, they can pick up incredible flavor and become a part of your dish. It's quite delicious. And I think for their addition to any dish, even if it's not a good quality Roma tomato or a beef steak, I still choose to cook with them. I don't serve them in a salad or whatnot, but they're great. I peeled my tomatoes because traditionally this dish is done with peeled tomatoes rather than chopped tomatoes. And the reason for that is that it shows, even at a truck stop place, it shows love and care that somebody actually took the time to peel the tomatoes. Means that somebody actually cared. Also, tomato skin is not digestible. You don't want to be remembered the next morning.
Chef, what's the best way to peel a tomato?
I will show it right now.
And
So-
this dish is never with canned?
No,
No.
you can't. I mean, you can, but it'll just
Not the same.
that's not what it is. Fresh tomatoes is the best. Fresh tomatoes in season is the greatest. But I've never cooked it with a can. Obviously, you're free to do whatever the hell you want. I quartered my, hello. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You can take a whole tomato, put it crisscross in the bum side, and blanch it in a hot water, boiling water, for about 20 seconds until the skin is loosened. You can just peel it off. You can take a tomato, drop it in a deep fryer at 300, 325 Fahrenheit for about 10 seconds. It'll come out peeled. But this is the traditional method. You just quarter a tomato, okay? And then, so you just grab it from one end, and just like skinning a fish, you just tilt your knife on a, I would say, 15 degree angle, and then you literally just cut the tomato. As you just come to the end of it, you started to push to the end of the tomato, so it tilts up. It will lead you. And there's your tomato. There's the skin. If there's a little bit of flesh left over in here, you can just literally put your knife down, tilt it slightly, and have that little last see-through flesh out of there. That's my skin. That's not digestible. Excuse me. And that can go there. Now, my peppers are smelling really nice. I can smell the garlic, which is really, really nice. And then I just coarsely chop it. It doesn't matter what shape it is going to cook down. All right. Now, can you smell the peppers?
Sure can. I smell the garlic too.
Right?
So if you were doing this, a larger version of this, probably blanching would be the easiest, just because you're not, a lot of people don't have the same knife skill capacity that you have, so.
Probably not. Probably not.
And the same modesty
But
level.
you know, no, it's called doing this 10 hours a day, 15 years, 100-hour weeks. If you can't get it right at this point, you might as well just take it out and go home. But no, take your time. You don't have to do it fast. If you're doing a large version, you know what? Skip it. You know what? I'll show you another trick. I'm gonna open up all the tricks tonight.
Man, you're full of advice tonight.
Cut your tomato in half. Grab your tomato, flesh side down, and grate it until the skin is there. That's just another way of doing it. Now, my peppers are really wonderfully soft and my garlic is just nicely fried. As you can see, a little bit of drip drop. The aroma is wonderful. Now we're gonna add a little bit of extra savory element. If you know me by now, little sherry vinegar. That is just gonna give that oomph for the tomato. For the base. I'm just gonna cook it for 10 seconds. Let's crank the heat up. And then there goes my tomato in. Tomatoes in. Okay. As well as my cumin, fenugreek, and harissa paste goes in. Now, harissa paste can vary in spice levels. So, whatever brand you're using, some of them are non-spicy and some of them are very spicy. Whatever brand you're using, just taste it and season it accordingly. Now, let's just put a lid on this. I want the tomatoes to soften up and the whole thing come into a little bit pulpy. So I'm just going to switch it to here until it sleeps. Yeah. So our base is cooking, okay? Now the next thing is to do our appetizers. Whenever you do kitchen work, you start with the longest cooking item first so that you can, have everything together at the same time. My halloumi doesn't need seasoning. It's quite salty. Now, whenever you take a halloumi, traditionally, when you look at it, you will always see a little separation. They just do it into a rectangular shape. They fold it, and then it's pressed. This is a Turkish halloumi, which is an odd brand I grew up on also, which was quite hard to find, but I end up with it. I'm just going to cut this into a right from where it folds. Okay. And this is my half. I don't think we're going to be able to consume both of this tonight. This is my half that I'm working with.
Is cheese expensive in Turkey, Chef?
Not as expensive as in Canada. Canada is oddly expensive for dairy.
But you said meat was expensive. So
Meat
I just
is expensive.
wondered.
Meat is very, very expensive. You can go up to, I don't know, 15 bucks for a kilo of ground beef, which is, when you consider the income levels in Turkey, which is super high. So we eat less meat, but cheese is not as, but it's still expensive. Fish is incredibly expensive.
Really?
Fish and meat here is way cheaper for our incomes than Turkey, for sure. Now I'm looking for a hot pan, and I'm going to start foaming my butter. Let's check up on our bread. Don't dry or, as you can see. You know what? I'm going to put a splash of water here just to get the conversation going.
Wow, that fenugreek smells so strong.
Yes, it will come out of your skin the next day, as we say it. It just does. This is fenugreek leaves, not the seeds. Okay, let's just wipe this because it's taking confused messages. Now to my pan, I'm gonna add my butter.
Do they use a lot of butter instead of, or with olive oil in Turkey, or is it?
Depends on the region. West Coast, the Mediterranean, and the Aegean coast has all the olive orchards, so they use a lot of olive oil in their dishes and less butter. But the inlands have a lot of animals, beef, and all that jazz. So therefore, they use butter, a lot of butter. But when you have really good butter, there's nothing like it.
So the beef that they have in Turkey, would it be like considered like grass-fed style or grain-fed?
Yeah. We don't have like large beef farms. That's why it's so expensive.
Right.
It's like really, like our beef compared to is like venison.
So really lean.
It's quite lean. It has a more of a more forward taste or a beefy taste. It's not as rich and as forgiving as the beef here. So, so that's why we didn't have the steak culture, which was changed with that Salt Baye guy. That guy's Turkish. And I used to go to his butcher shop when he was a little child. And he was an apprentice in the butcher shop. Did you know that?
No.
It's like that was early, mid 80s, not early, it's mid and late 80s. And we used to go to this butcher shop called Günaydın, and he used to work there or in their warehouse or somewhere, but he was there.
So he was like 13, drinking gin with his grandmother, cutting up sides of
No,
beef.
that was for me.
Oh.
I had the luxury. I come a family of, let's not talk about
Drinkers, smokers. I love it.
It's not drinkers, smokers. We just like to get together and have good time. That was our thing. My father's side, my father was the gatherer. Gatherer being like my family hosted all the meetings on a Sunday. We would cook all day, and then literally in the afternoon we would look at each other and have drinks, grill some fish, and make fun of each other. It was such good times. It was such good times.
So is it just you and your sister in your family, Chef?
Yeah, in my immediate family. But I have about 30 plus cousins. So it gets quite interesting.
And which part of Turkey are you from?
Everywhere.
Okay.
I was born in the North Shore, right across from Russia. This is a bit of one personal information.
I know.
I don't want to put this out there.
It's like the dating game. Da-na-na-na.
Swipe right. Anyway, I was born in North Shore. That's where my father was from. My mom was from the West Coast. My grandmother's family is from inland, and we're all over the country. Not the southern east or the east part too much. Now I'm going to show you this halloumi. But before I do that, what did she say when she looked in the mirror?
Hallumi?
That was obvious, right? Anyway, so that was a joke.
That was terrible.
That was pretty good, I think.
No, it was terrible.
Okay. This is my halloumi. I'm going to flip it very carefully. Now, I don't know if you can see it. Can we, David? Oh, yeah. So, as you can see, she's in the hot butter bath, all foamed up, crusted beautifully on one side, and softening away. And that's how you want your halloumi. To this, I'm going to add, to this foaming butter, coriander seed, lightly hand-cracked. Okay. And they're going to start popping. Let's get rid of all these obstructions. And also check on your... okay, this is ready to be opened up. Actually, I will need that lid again. Let's break all this tomato down. Don't make a mess like I do. And after my coriander releases its aroma, I'm going to pour about 100 mils of honey in this. So dramatic. Okay, and I'm going to start to reduce the honey with this until it's like really, really syrupy and sticky and emulsified with the butter. So you can think about it, right? It's like a brown butter, coriander seeds, honey, soft gooey cheese. So it is quite a combo for sure. On this side, my pan is going really, really well. It is going nice and soft. Now let's just taste this for the 4-dye seasoning. It's quite good. Pinch of salt always helps. It's quite spicy.
So you haven't, sorry, what did you say? Oh, Doug wants to know if you should check your bread.
Doug, you're a good man.
Doug for the win. Way to go, Doug. Thank you.
For the win.
Doug saves Chef's bacon. Nice. What kind of bread is it? Doug would like to know. It's toasty.
Huh?
It's toasty bread, Doug.
It is toasty bread. It's got a nice crunch on the outside. The inside, I will show you. It's very hot. It's still quite nice and fluffy. I don't know if you can see this. So that is nice steam coming.
Is it like a ciabatta style?
It is. Sorry, I was lost in my bread. It is a ciabatta style bread. Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. Way to pay attention.
You didn't say. What did he
Yeah.
save today?
Yep, Doug saved the day.
Am I getting paid still?
Nope. So I'm sending your check to Doug.
Enjoy it, Doug.
Doug ordered, I believe Doug ordered the Valentine's dinner, so no pressure, Chef.
For what? From Doug?
Yep.
Doug, you're gonna have good dinner. You're the lucky one. So, David, can we see the pan?
Yes.
So, as you can see, the honey is just got really, really thickened and emulsified with the brown butter and the coriander seeds. And this is soft and wonderful. I'm gonna keep it until it's ready. At this point, I know it's a little bit of back and forth and it might be a little bit confusing. I'm gonna add my chorizo into this pan.
So Chef, Sarah's joining us tonight from Saskatchewan. She's a little bit, she was a little concerned that she might not make it tonight because of the time change. They're 2 hours ahead of us now, so
Okay.
it's not her dinner time. But she says the Superstore Wholesale Club has the halloumi. And Sarah, is this all of these ingredients are things you can easily access.
I did not have to go to an ethnic store if that's what you're asking.
Right, there's
these are-
nothing other
yeah.
than the harissa, which is not a hard thing to find generally.
No, not in this day and age. Not in this day and age. So, should we just dress our cheese?
Yeah, the cheese smells and looks incredible.
Awesome.
Cheese is like life. I don't understand people who don't eat cheese. I just don't get it. I could never be a vegan for that reason alone.
Well, we'll leave them alone in their own little bubble. Okay, now comes out my halloumi. Oh, you have cutlery there, Angie.
No, but I'm gonna get on that.
You should. A little bit of adjustment. Now, my cheese is quite soft. Never do that because honey is quite reduced and it will stick to your hand and melt through your skin.
Honey will burn.
Okay. Now,
So that was cooking at sort of like a medium temperature, right?
all the way.
Yeah.
No rush. But as you can see how beautifully caramelized that is, that goes right onto the middle of my plate. And again, just take about like few minutes before you consume this dish because it is quite hot. And I'm gonna shrizzle it with honey, reduced honey and butter. And this is a great dipper because I mean you mix honey and butter and reduce it and intensify the flavor. You think foie gras is a thing? Which is delicious, but you can easily do nice things. And then it looks like cheese au pois.
It kind of looks like a piece of salmon almost.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And then we're just gonna drop some apricots. These are Turkish apricots, obviously, right? They come from the city of Malatya, which I've been. The city is covered with, the city just actually probably supplies the 90% of the dried apricot of the world. It's hilarious. And obviously in that city, you don't pay for apricots. Otherwise, you're an idiot. They're like, what? You paid for an apricot? I was like, have you looked around? Trees, and nobody wants any more of it. And then I'm just going to sprinkle with this pistachios.
So those are just raw or are they toasted?
These are just lightly salted and lightly toasted, nothing too harsh. Okay. Now, before we taste this, so I don't cause damage on your palate, we just need to take a minute. But I mean, look at this. Now that's a cheese course.
That
rather
looks
than
like-
that.
That would be a dessert course at my house. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, cheese can be for dessert.
For sure.
But it is a great course. It just is. And a hot cheese course like this, you know, just rather than dreadful that slice of brie, the blue, and which there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, when it's cheese course, everybody does that. You pull this one out.
Yeah.
You're the rock star. Now, before Angie tastes this, I'm just gonna bring my menemen.
And do you eat the cheese with the bread, chef, or is the bread for the menemen?
The bread is eaten, and it's always at the bread. Yogurt and salad is always on the Turkish table. Always. Now, this is nicely reduced. I'm going to make little wells. Now, there are a few ways of doing this. Okay? You can whisk the egg and mix it in. I like to keep it whole, but that's me. Okay, that's 2. And that's 3. 1 for me, and the other one is for me too. All right, so now I'm going to season my give a good seasoning. Little pinch on the yolk, condensed. Big pinch of black pepper in every single yolk, because we don't believe in the balance. Moderation is for people who enjoy it. I'm going to bring this up to a really high temperature. High temperature bring a really fastidious boil. As you can see, it's picking up. Thank you, David.
It's the Harissa.
You sure there's not too much ham in there or what?
Oh my God.
Oh, your God. Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is day 1.
This is my life all day, every day. This is what I get. This is the treatment I get around here.
I know. She's such a Pollyanna. Or was this
terrible.
I know. So mistreated. Brr, brr. Come on and have some cheese.
Oh, chef.
Come on, have some cheese. Now, let's take our bread date. What was his name? The gentleman saved the bread?
Doug saved the bread.
Doug, look at that crumb. All right. Are we tasting it? What?
Oh, you're ready for me? All right, I'm coming over. I got my cheese.
Please bring your own utensils. I'm not sharing. It's COVID times. And you can have it with a piece of bread or not or whatnot. It's very, very hot.
I'm going to have it just a little toasty piece of bread with it. My cheeses.
I'm going to go drink some wine.
So this is, this butter has kind of, the honey and butter has kind of set up almost like caramel.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
So that's another chew and I think it's just got a little bit cold, but just go for it. It's super tasty. It's like a fudge right now.
What kind of dairy is used for halloumi? Is it sheep?
Cow.
Cow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't it delicious?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cheese course.
Oh my God.
It makes all the difference. I love cooking this dish for people.
I'm gonna make this again.
You should. This again. This started as a joke. We have a form of it. Obviously, we eat a lot of warm halloumi in Turkey. But again, it started as a joke, but in the end, it turned out to be one of the.
This is why people smoke in Turkey.
What does that mean?
Is that good?
We don't smoke weed. You mean? Is that what you're saying?
No, I left my microphone. Oh no,
No,
there it is.
it's there. She's that confused.
I am. I'm like, I'm in a cheese daze right now. Oh my God, this is so good. I would rather have this than almost any other dessert. Really, this to me is like so
It's
great.
cheese. Also, it's good protein for you too.
And halloumi is not expensive, but
unless you're eating a brick a day, that can get quite costly.
If you're eating a brick of halloumi a day, you're gonna need to see a physician because you're gonna need some fiber.
Or a bunch of them.
You'll need some fiber in your life. Okay, this is a winner for sure. Thank you for this.
So we're just like maybe share it with David a little bit also?
I'm not sharing.
All right, well, there's a little piece of bread.
Thanks for saving the bread, Doug. Appreciate it.
Doug, I don't like this. You're in the kitchen now. Next thing you know, you're doing this job. And I'm out in the wild.
Yep, it could happen, Chef, any day.
I don't mind. All right, so as my pan is settling in, you know what? Let's just put some sustenance into this pan. Oh, come on, we were doing so well. Okay, that is gonna simmer. Now, you know me by now. I'm gonna grab a little piece of raw garlic. And I'm going to squeeze it in here so the aroma can get to it. I'm going to close this up.
So it's kind of late in the game to add garlic. So it's going to add a totally different flavor than if you cooked it in.
Who?
No, it's just a.
It is a type of cooking. Listen, if you've never finished your sauces with raw garlic, raw pureed garlic, I suggest give it a shot. It makes an incredible difference. I call it in the kitchen as a cross-tempo seasoning, which is done knowledgeable. It's a great thing, but you're doing a tomato sauce, you're doing a bowl of pasta, and you're just like tossing it right at the end. Please put a zest of garlic in your bean stew or whatever you're cooking. It will make all the difference. Now, as you can see, my eggs are still in a soft stage. It's beautifully steaming. And I'm going to turn it off now. Now, as you cook things, especially such a gentle protein like an egg, you have to really be aware of your heat. I know this looks a little bit jiggly and raw right now, but believe me, if you were to put your hand in there for about 10 seconds, you'd get a second-degree burn. So there is a lot of heat in that pan that is going to keep on cooking your eggs. I just need to do a little bit more talking, about like 4 to 5 minutes, I guess. But we can do that. Any questions, Angie?
No, Doug's excited now. He'd like to come in one night and be your sidekick. Maybe Doug wants my job. Doug, you can have it.
Wait, I'll take your job and put Doug to work if you want. I mean,
Doug, when COVID times are done, we'd love to have you in the kitchen for sure.
We'll see you in September, Doug. And yes, you can have my job.
Mine too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now to finish this dish, there are many ways of doing it, but I highly suggest finish with a little bit of citrus. It could be lemon juice. Today I have preserved lemons. I had one in the fridge, and I think it's in the recipe also. I'm just chopped it up, just for some warmness and acidity. Not warmness, sorry, brightness and acidity, just to lighten the whole thing up, because there's chorizo, there's eggs. It's quite rich in there. Tomatoes are quite acidic, but, you know.
Chef.
Hi.
Sorry to interrupt you again.
Sure.
Sarah has some saganaki in the fridge. She's wondering if you could do this with the saganaki.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And can I tell you this? That you can actually do this with any cheese. If you have a really high melting cheese, you just increase your temperature and shorten your cooking time. You can sear any piece of cheese, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, you just can't take your time on it. Let's say if you're doing a big slice of fresh mozzarella, rather than cooking it and reducing for like 4 to 5 minutes, you have to get it over within a minute and a half to 2, so the temperature goes up. But saganaki is an excellent cheese to be used. It is a sheep's cheese, I believe.
Saganaki is generally sheep.
Yeah, and it is a little bit more of an expensive cheese. All right. So, and that's my one coat for the night. Now, David, can we see this? So 3 of my eggs are wonderfully done. Give it a shake when the whites are not really jiggly. It's usually done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle the whole thing, not my eggs, so I can see them one by one. Okay, just like that. And you know, when it's not canned tomatoes and when it's like cooked really right, it actually looks like way more authentic, if I may say. Okay. Now, before I serve this, let's just taste the sauce. It is quite spicy, but it is very good. All right. Now, normally, I don't have anything on my face, do I? I don't want to continue tonight with a piece of parsley on my face. Normally, this would go in the middle of the table, just as is, little bit of heat, whatever, and then you would just everybody would just take a flip of bread, and everybody has an egg, and they would break their own. But since it's the COVID times, we're gonna serve it little a la carte. Let's get rid of this.
Chef, when you have a second, Nina watched a couple weeks ago when you talked about making your own preserved lemons. Can you just tell her again how to do that when you're...
Sure, absolutely, Nina. But just give me a sec. This is the... Huh?
Yeah, if Kay is still there, maybe Kay, you can link the class that had the preserved lemons, but...
No, I will tell you, this is quite hot anyway. Let's grab this. Normally, again, you wouldn't plate this, but tonight we're doing it for the sake of... And then, whatever leftover herbs that you have, and the preserved lemon, sprinkle it around the plate. If you want to be really North American, you could put a pinch of Parmesan. It doesn't need it, in my opinion, but that's me. And then this is our menemen with spicy chorizo or sucuk, as we call it. Eggs, fenugreek, harissa, and cumin. And it's ready to be tasted. When the judge stops texting.
I'm answering questions, Chef.
I'm kidding. So yeah, so the dish is this is a great dish. It is a great light dinner, awesome lunch, incredible breakfast. I suggest you cook it. Just a little bit though, Angie. Just a little bit. Thank you. That's good. Just a sip. Dennis, a sip.
Okay, so some people came in late. So this is chorizo?
Sucuk, which is dried chorizo of Turkish, garlic, fresh tomatoes, harissa paste, cumin, fenugreek, and eggs, all cooked wonderfully together. With the preserved lemons, what we usually do is, if it's a Californian lemon, it would have a wax on it, so you just have to dip them in hot boiling water to wash the wax off, and then you just put half an inch deep quarter cuts. So crisscross cuts on each end, and then you pack them in abundance of salt. Eventually, the extracted liquid become a brine, and they should be ready in about, I don't know, 4 weeks or so. So that's how I make my preserved lemons. You can put bay leaves and accents and this and that, but that's different. Obviously, you have to just jam a little bit depending on how much juice your lemon has. And whatnot, and this and that. That was quite a day.
We could use some ham, but
I'll put less ham when we get our 3 Michelin. That was quite a day. That was a lot of work.
oh my god!
How do you like it?
I love you. You are so ridiculous.
You created it, so just
I do. I love
was
it.
just sitting at home doing nothing,
Minding his own beeswax.
minding my own business. I didn't sign up for it. She just wouldn't stop messaging.
I know. I was stalking him basically. Okay, this is not the same as the shakshuka I make at home.
Exactly.
It's Do you ever finish this with cheese? Because
you could put feta cheese on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a way of doing it. But again, that's an expected combination that we would compose in North America.
It's not missing cheese. I
No,
think it's
I
good
know,
without
that's what I'm
it.
saying. But
Yeah.
that's a very mood that we would do here.
Okay, it's
You
not
know,
a traditional.
It's not
kind of
traditional
thing.
because Turks are like, hey, this is my base: eggs, tomatoes, green peppers, and now I'm just gonna put this awesome cheese I got from the deli with it. You know what I mean? It's about that cheese. It's not about a composition. Or hey, I'm gonna go get yanturalı sucuk, which is a specific type of chorizo from Balıkesir, city of Balıkesir in Turkey. And then just because I have that sucuk, I don't need that cheese to dilute that flavor because those guys make the best sucuk or chorizo, whatever. So it's a little bit of showcasing pride and joy of whatever ingredient you choose to incorporate this.
It's interesting to me watching you assemble this, and I've had a version of this, but certainly not this. not the same flavors, not the same textures. It's much different than anything I've ever had. But this almost reminds me of like a Korean style bibimbap. Like if this was
Yeah,
served on rice,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's sort of that egg and the savory and the richness of all of the herbs and
I
stuff.
don't like that dish too much, though.
I like it occasionally. And you know what? It'll cure a hangover. That is for sure.
Can we talk about this for a minute? If you can eat on your hangover, that ain't no hangover.
Right.
That's just cute.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, well, when I'd say hangover, I want to see intolerance to daylight and sound.
Yeah, he
and,
says if you're not bleeding, it's not
yeah,
a
I want
hangover.
to see blood. That's a hangover. The other stuff
But
is cute.
this would also cure a hangover. And
Yeah.
for me, I mean, this is every culture has this version of their sort of braised egg dish, right? In Korea, it's that one. In Turkey, it's this one. Morocco, it's the
Shakshuka, or whatever
shakshuka that
it is,
I'm
yeah.
more used to.
Sure.
But this is so delicious. And if you don't have access to good chorizo where you live, you could probably use a farmer's sausage and just up the
Again, this is a blank palette. The canvas. That's a blank canvas. The base is the same. And then you say that, hey, I want to highlight this Dutch, the guy's chorizo, or that guy's merguez, or that guy's farmer's sausage, or that guy's triple smoked chorizo, or whatever it is. Or slices of cured meat finished at the end without cooked. So again, this is like a blank plate, just like you can do anything. In Turkey, we don't get creative too much. They've been eating the same dumpling for the last 500 years. Did you know that? They never changed it. They're like, what? It's got mushrooms in it? That ain't no item. Just take it away. So
what's in the traditional dumpling? Lamb?
just lamb or beef or onions, and that's pretty much it. And it's served with yogurt and harissa paste. And they never changed it because it's so good, and it is so good. We're not exciting culinarians, but it tastes good though.
I think it is exciting. I think it's really simple food. It's not complicated. It's ingredients that anybody can get, basically.
Yeah.
You know, changing out maybe the pepper if you need to change out the variety of the pepper. But I don't think there's anything here that is difficult for a home cook to kind of execute.
And it took literally
a few
15
minutes.
15 to 20 minutes. I mean, knife work was done, sure. The portioning of the ingredient was, but 20 minutes, and this is nutritious food. It just is. There's meat, there's eggs, there's a little bit of vegetables in there, there's fresh herbs, and it's very well composed food.
I think, you know, in North America, we're so conditioned to what our sort of flavor profiles look like around breakfast. And I think shakshuka, the one I am talking about, is sort of one of those dishes that have brought people out because shakshuka is becoming more common, I guess. I don't want to say it's normal now because it's not, but I think it's definitely becoming more common. But these kinds of flavors,
But every culture also has it too, not only North America.
Right.
Everybody has their own way of eating breakfast or lunch or dinner, and their rules are strict and this and that.
but
For
here
sure.
in Vancouver, I think people, particularly in Vancouver, I grew up in Alberta, and that was a
Smitty's,
long time ago.
right?
Smitty's for
Yeah,
sure.
I've
with their
been to
pancakes.
Smitty's. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
a pancake.
I love
But
Smitty's.
I think on the West Coast at least, we tend to embrace some of these flavors a little bit faster.
Like dim sums or having broth for breakfast.
the
or,
congee
yeah,
or-
yeah, congees and this and that. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think this isn't a far-fetched breakfast for people to have, but this would also make a killer dinner. In Vancouver right now, it is so cold. And I know, Sarah, you're going to make fun of us because it's not as cold as it is in Swift Current today. I
What is
promise
Swift
you that.
Current?
Swift Current is where Sarah lives,
Where's Swift Current?
Saskatchewan. So she's kind of between Saskatoon and Regina. So Sarah's probably dealing with about minus 45 right now.
It would be fun for a week for me. I can't. How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sarah,
It's not even the temperature, it's the inconvenience that breaks the deal. Because the
you get
temperature,
used to it. You get used to it.
like digging your car out 45 minutes every single morning. Why
You
would I
park
get
in the
used to that?
garage.
Oh,
get
you
a
have
garage.
garages. Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, it's a civilized culture, Chef. They don't live in caves.
I'm gonna get trouble into this, right? Yeah. All right. That
I
won't be the
think,
first time.
So I think this when it's minus, 4 here, which is, the equivalent of Sarah's minus 45. Sorry, Sarah, I know it's not the same thing. But here it's a wet cold. And I think
it's humid, Sarah. It's humid.
It's humid. I think this would be an amazing breakfast or dinner for that matter. In fact, I think this is, well, it's my dinner tonight, but I think this is going to be on my dinner rotation in the next couple of weeks because I feel like David's really going to love this. And that cheese dish, oh my God.
Right?
That was so good. That was so good. And I've eaten halloumi 1,000 times. Yeah, I've eaten halloumi a lot, and I've only ever grilled it. But this dish is really great, and David agrees. David loved it. Yeah, David ate it all.
Oh, it's gone.
No cheese for me. So
it is, but at the same time, I grew up in it. I'm not putting any creative work. I mean, I do somewhat. It's personal and the regional tweaks and the local tweaks, obviously.
Yeah.
But really, I've just I've been milking this thing for a while now. It's great. I don't have to do any work. They're like, oh, I'll cook that. They're like, that's really different. I'm like, oh.
So, Chef, do you think you could live in Turkey again?
It's an odd question to
ask. Could you go back?
No.
No.
No. And the reason for that is I love my family, and they do love me, hopefully. But there's no pork in Turkey. I got a house in the Mediterranean, but I can't get decent pork or decent charcuterie. It's very early for that culture. Well, not for that culture, but that they still are very they get repulsed by it. And I love pork so much. Yeah, because it's a Muslim, mostly predominantly Muslim culture. It's not how it tastes; it's how it comes across. So when you say pork, they go like, okay, like, would you eat a dog?
No.
Exactly. They have the same mentality about a pork.
Right.
So I'm not gonna cook a dog anytime soon. But anyway, so it is a wonderful place to live. I love the people. I love the geography. I love it's embedded in me. I love the culture. I love the literature. It's just the political condition of it, and Canada. I mean, this is Great Northwest Pacific. This is geographical lottery with all the bells and whistles, and it is very hard to leave.
How old were you when you left Turkey?
Just a tender 25.
Mm-hmm. And did you land in Vancouver?
Yeah, I did. My aunt used to live here, and I'm giving a lot of personal information tonight,
and I know all these answers because we've been friends for a while, so we've had these conversations. But I think it's interesting for people, particularly with a chef, when so much of the way they express themselves obviously is through food. And tonight, this is the first time Chef he's cooked for us, obviously here for our staff and for our team. He cooks for us almost every day, or basically every day. So I see his personal expression. Well, not on the weekends. I have to cook staff meals on Saturdays.
Oh my
It's very disappointing for my staff.
What, he's 6?
But I've seen his his style, his personal style, which isn't necessarily how he would cook in a restaurant. It's how he cooks for people he cares about. And so he makes us lunch every day.
I usually do, though. I gotta tell you, whenever I make a deal, I make sure that I have that personal liberty. There is nothing wrong with standard or regular manufacturing of food, or we call it the field work. When I used to be a copywriter. So with the copywriting business, when you work for, let's say, brands like Nike and Budweiser, there's so much fun. They got big budgets. They got expanded horizon. Their marketing is really, how do you say? Like whatever. You can do literally anything, or you can pitch any idea. But when you do those accounts, then there is the elevator company account. They go like, hey, we want a brochure for our clients. And you have to sit down and write this 10 pages of brochure for the elevator company, which is field work. It still gets you paid. There's nothing wrong with it. But I usually, if I am going to be in charge of a kitchen, I usually just put that on the contract, which she was kind enough to agree with it. That some of personal flair and personal approach to cooking will be executed, because it's where it really sings. You just hire people that are right for the job, and you set them free. You give them the right setup, and then you set them free, and that's how you get the most out of your staff. And I think that's an important quality to be able to grow an organic corporate culture in your establishment. But if I speak any further, I should charge you. So.
Oh my God. So we were talking today, and we were talking about, what's your signature dish? And I asked Chef if somebody asked you today what your signature dish was, and he listed a whole bunch of things that he's really well known for. And
I'm not well known.
he is. He's well known in town for a lot of the dishes that he makes, and I think it's interesting to hear from people what their signature dish is. So. Yeah, I think this should be on your list for sure. The cheese and the eggs, the Menemen, it's really delicious. So,
it needs to be it needs to be right in the context also.
Yeah.
You can't just do things out of self-expression and personal individuality or whatever. But let's wrap it up. So, what do you want to see next week? Leave a comment, right?
Yeah. So let us know.
Leave a comment.
What is interesting to you? I think we should do a class maybe on beans. I'm really interested in beans and legumes. Maybe you can make a falafel. I love a good falafel. So anyhow, we'd love to hear from you about what you would like to learn. I mean, next week it's supposed to be snowing still or again. So maybe.
So we need some hearty, thick.
That's right.
Just rich dishes. So leave a comment. And please do show up. We love your support. We appreciate your support, both in the store and online. And enthusiasm is growing, actually. And people started to swing by and say that, just how they enjoy and this and that. It only been mere 9 months.
He loves it. People stick their head in the kitchen. Hey, Chef, what's cooking tonight? I can't wait to see you online. So thank you very much for watching this, for stopping by the store, for sending your emails, asking questions. This is fun for us. This is sort of for us our social life, sadly.
This is my social life. I have a dog somewhere that just roams in a Richmond dog park, which I have no idea what he does. I left him this big. Now he's like 75 pounds.
I know. Now Louis is a teenager.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you very much. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back here next Thursday at 5:30 here on Facebook Live. But in the meantime, we'd like to hear from you. So if you have questions about anything Chef made today, feel free to send us an email, askachef@wellseasoned.ca. We'll pass it on to Chef Deniz. But in the meantime...
No direct calling or no direct emails, please.
Or you can stop by and stick your head in the kitchen. He loves that too. So in the meantime, stay warm, stay hydrated. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy your beef Wellington if you've got one, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.